Welcome to Lively Up Girl Affirmations and Coffee. My name is Linda M., bringing you another amazing story in the Bible. This story is more on the salacious side, as Bathsheba, the wife of Uriah, and later, the wife of King David. So sit back and relax and be amazed about this story of Bathsheba. Once upon a time, in the city of Jerusalem, there was a king named David. He was a great and powerful king who loved God. But one spring evening, while his army was off fighting a war, King David stayed home. In fact, he went up to the roof of his palace, and from there, he saw a beautiful woman bathing. And this woman was Bathsheba. David was very attracted to her. So he did some digging around, and he found out that she was a married woman, and she was the wife of a man named Uriah, who was one of his soldiers. It really didn't matter to King David, because despite knowing this, he sent for Bathsheba, and of course, they spent some intimate time together. And as a result, Bathsheba was pregnant from King David. David knew that he made a mistake, but he wanted to cover up what he had done. So he decided to call Uriah back from the battlefield because he was trying to get Uriah to go home to be with his wife, hoping that Uriah would think that the baby was his. Little did David know that Uriah had other thoughts because he was a loyal soldier. And he refused to go home to be with his wife, knowing that his fellow soldiers were still at war. So David did some rethinking and some regrouping, and he decided to make a decision that was actually a terrible decision. He sent Uriah back to the battlefield, but he sent Uriah back with a message to give to the commander. And that message was telling the commander to place Uriah at the front of the fight where it was most dangerous. And that's exactly what happened. And as you can imagine, he did not make it through the battle. After Uriah died, David married Bathsheba, and God was not pleased with David's actions. So God sent the prophet Nathan to David to confront him about his sin. So Nathan told David a story about a rich man who took a poor man's only sheep. David was angry at this rich man in the story, not realizing that Nathan was talking about him. Nathan then revealed that David was the man who had done wrong. David felt very sorry for his actions and confessed his sins to God. He realized that he made a mistake, a serious mistake. Nathan told David that God had forgiven him, but there would still be some consequences for his actions. And now it's time for Bathsheba to give birth, and she did to a son. Sadly, that child became ill and died, which brought great sorrow to David and Bathsheba. However, they later had another son named Solomon, who eventually became king after David. The story of Bathsheba and David shows how even great people can make big mistakes, but can also find forgiveness if they truly repent and turn back to God. And you can read the story for yourself in 2 Samuel 11 and 12. This concludes this Bible story, but we'll see you next time for more Bible stories.